Hey, little loves. Welcome to this week's homework where we are looking at long division with some big numbers. Now, those of you that were with me last year, we really focused on what it's going to look like if we use the traditional formula where we divide, multiply, subtract, bring down, repeat a remainder. We looked at what is this going to look like if I'm doing the box division. For our purposes today, we're not going to get that involved into the actual problem. I will do it for the first page in traditional. I will do the second page in box. After that, I'm going to go over the answers. If you need some more focus on the division steps, there are the Learn With Me videos on the YouTube here. If you can't find them, have your grown-up reach out to me, but they are there to help you. At this point, we're focusing more on dividing with larger numbers, not necessarily the steps for division, okay? So questions, always bring them to class. First page, let's do some traditional. So I'm going to put my 342 on the inside. I'm going to put my 12 on the outside. And every time I'm thinking of my groups, I'm thinking of groups of 12. Groups of 12. So how many groups of 12 can I take out of 3? I can't. How many groups of 12 can I take out of 34? I can take 2 because 2 times 12 is 24. And when I subtract, 34 take away 24 is 10. Now 10 sounds big, but 10 is smaller than 12, which means that this is okay. I'm going to bring down my 2. I start again. How many groups of 12 can I take out of 102? I can take 8 because 8 times 12 is 96. When I do 102, take away 96, I'm going to borrow, and I'm going to end up with 6. So this first answer is 28 with a remainder of 6. Questions? Bring them to class. Also, as a reminder, I can always go back and check my work by taking the number I divided by and multiplying it by the number I had. So let's take a look at this one. 8 and 2 is 16. 8 and 1 is 8. Add 1 is 9. Place saving 0. 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 1 is 2. I'm going to get a 6, 13, and a 3. But I had a remainder of 6. I have to add that back. I end up with 342. So if your answer looks a little strange, go back, double check it with multiplication. Or as always, you know that you can check them here. All right, next one. Again, we're going to do this full page in traditional. Next page I'm going to do in box. So we're taking groups of 11. How many groups of 11 can I take out of 83? I can take 7. 7 times 11 is 77. When I do 83 minus 77, I'm left with 6. 6 is smaller than 11. So I'm going to go ahead and bring down my 8. How many groups of 11 can I take out of 66? The closest I can do is 6 because 6 times 11 is 66. Subtract, I'm left with 2. That is my remainder. If I went in and did 77 times 11, I get 836. Add my 2, 838. I always have a strategy to check my work. Over here, taking groups of 13 out of 607. Remind yourself, you cannot break this down. It has to be groups of 13. So I can't take 13 out of 6, but I can take it out of 60 4 times because 4 times 13 is 52. That's the closest that I can get. When I borrow, I end up with 8. Bring down my 7. Now, if you are looking at these and you're like, I don't know how many groups, go to the side and do your groups. I can do, okay, that's 26. If I add another 3, that's 39. I know that that's 1, 2, 3 groups, so 4. So far, I know if I add another one, that's my 4th group. 9 and 3 is 12. 3, 4, 5, that's 52. And I can do it that way, okay? So if you're not sure, flip your strategy. I'm going to see that if I do 6 times 13 is going to give me 78. And when I subtract 87 from 78, I'm left with 9. 9 is smaller than 13, which makes it our remainder. The answer is 46 with a remainder of 9. Coming over here, we're getting bigger. 6,458 taking groups of 14. Again, if it helps you, you can absolutely come over to the side and say, okay, I'm doing groups of 14. If I have 2, it's 28. 8 and 4 is going to be 12. 13, 42. Okay, I can do my groups that way if it's going to help me. So I'm looking for 64. So if I add another group, I end up with 56. That's going to be the closest I can get to start. 4 times 14 is 56. When I do 64 minus 56, I'm left with 8. 8 is smaller than 15, or 14 rather. So I'm going to bring down my 5. And again, I'm going to start with how many groups of 14 can I take? This time I'm going to be able to take 6 because 6 times 14 gives me 84. That's super close. Leaves me with 1. Bring down the 18. I'm going to be able to pull one more group of 14. Leaves me with a remainder of 4. 461, remainder of 4. Over here, I have 15, 4,272. I'm taking groups of 15 out. Again, I can go down the side and say, okay, 15 and 15, 2 groups is 30. 3 groups is 45, and I can make myself a little cheat sheet for my multiplication tables. I don't expect you to know your 15 times tables. I don't expect you to know your 14 times tables. 11, we can skip count pretty easily. I don't expect you to know them though, so use your strategy. Okay, if I take 2 groups of 15, that's 30. 42 take away 30 is 12. Bring down my 7. Next, I can take 8 groups. 8 groups, super close, gives me 120. Leaves me with 7. Bring down my 2. Again, this is where having those tables is going to help me. 15 times 5 is slightly too big at 75, so I'm going to do 15 times 4. When I do 15 times 4, I get 60. I subtract, I have 12 left over. 12 is big, but it's smaller than 15. So it is going to be our remainder, 284 with a remainder of 12. Over here, 7,622, again, taking out groups of 14. If you saw here, we already did our groups of 14. Make yourself a sheet and you can reuse it in class and on these assignments. So 14 is not going to go into 7, but it is going to go into 76 5 times because 5 times 14 is 70. When I subtract, I'm left with 6. Bring it down. Now I'm trying to see how many times does 14 go into 62, and it's going to go in 4 times because 4 times 14 is 56. When I subtract that from 62, I'm left with 6, and I'm going to bring down this 2. You're going to notice a pattern. I again have 62. How many times is it going to go in this time? Well, I already know because I've done it. It's going to go in 4 times, which gives me 56, which leaves me with 6. Nothing else to bring down. That's going to be my remainder. 544 with a remainder of 6. If we were doing decimals for these and we got that repetition, that tells us that this is going to be a repeating decimal and we can stop. But for our purposes right now, that's going to give us a remainder. All right, that's the end of page 1. Again, doing page 1 with our traditional. Page 2 is going to be looking at our box division. Questions? Bring them to class. All right, loves, we're going to set this one up as a box division question because I want everyone to get an opportunity to see their numbers or their problems in the way that works best for them. So I'm going to go ahead and stretch this out, put my 12 outside, still doing full groups of 12, not breaking that apart. So 12 goes into 3 0 times because 0 times 12 is 0. Subtract for 3, bring it next door. 12 goes into 37 3 times because 3 times 12 is 36. Subtract for 1, bring it next door. 12 goes into 15 1 time because 1 times 12 is 12. Subtract. 15 minus 12 is 3. bring it next door. 39, closest we can get is 3. 3 times 12 is 36, leaves us with 3. That is our remainder, 313 with a remainder of 3. All right, let's get this one boxed up. We have 5,321. Again, using 15, work smarter, not harder. Keep your list of times tables. 15 does not go into 5, but it does go into 53 3 times, which is going to be 45. When I subtract my 53 minus 45, I am left with 8, which I'm going to bring next door. 15 goes into 82 5 times because 5 times 15 is 75. When I subtract that from 82, I'm left with 7. I'm going to bring that next door. 15 goes into 71 4 times. 4 times 15 leaves us with 60. Subtract for a remainder of 11. Again, the remainder is big, but it's smaller than the number that we're working with. So it works. We have 354 with a remainder of 11. Coming down here, setting it up, we have 2,107. Make sure that 0 gets in there. We're taking groups of 12. Starting out, we can't take any groups out of 2, but we can do out of 12. 12 goes into 21 1 time, and when I subtract here, I'm going to be left with 9. When I bring my 90, I can take out 7 groups of 12 because 7 times 12 is 84. Subtract 90 minus 84 leaves me with 6. 67 divided by 12 is going to be 5 because 5 times 12 is 60. Leaves us with a remainder of 7. So 2,107 divided by 12 is 175 with a remainder of 7. Over here, 390, again, doing the box for this page. We're taking groups of 13. I can't take any out of 3, but I can out of 39. 13 is going to go into 39 3 times. 3 times 13 is 39. Nothing left, but we have to show we tried. How many times does 13 go into 0? 0 times, because 0 times 13 is 0. Finish the steps. My answer is 30. There is no remainder on this one. All right, 2 more on this page. 720 divided by 11. 11 does not go into 7. But it does go into 72. Closest is going to be 6, which is 66. When I take away 66 from 72, I'm left with 6. I can bring that next door. Closest I can get this time is 5 because 5 times 11 is 55. Leaves me with a remainder of 5. 720 divided by 11 is 65 with a remainder of 5. Last one over here. We have 803, taking out groups of 13. So 13 is not going to go into 8. It is too small, but it is going to go into 80 6 times because 6 times 13 is 78. Leaves me with 2. Bring it next door. 13 is going to go in just 1 time, leaving us with a remainder of 10, 61 with a remainder of 10. That brings us to the end of page 2 and the last look at box division. If you have questions, go ahead and bring them with you to class. All right, my little loves, I told you for the end here, we are going to be dividing in and just looking at the answers. But if you have strategy questions, let me know. 646 divided by 17 is 38 on the nose. There is no remainder on that one. 75 divided by 12 is 47. This does have a remainder of 11. 11 is very close to 12, but it is smaller, so it is a remainder. 336 divided by 14, no remainder, goes in evenly 24 times. 1,055 divided by 13, it is going to go in 81 times with a remainder of 2. Coming over here, 1,977 divided by 13 is going to be 152 with a remainder of 1. Last one for this page, 756 divided by 12 goes in evenly 63 times. If you have questions, go ahead and bring them with you to class. Looking at page number 4, again, looking at the answers. If you have specific strategy questions, please bring them with you to class. This one is going to go in 228 times with a remainder of 10. 10 is a large remainder, but it's smaller than 12, so it is going to work. This one, 10 divides in 200 times with a remainder of 9. 2,325 divided by 15, no remainder, goes in evenly 155 times. Over here, 5,456 divided by 12, it's going to go in 454 times. It is going to have a remainder of 8. Over here, 5,292 divided by 14, no remainder on this one, goes in evenly 378 times. And then the last one for this page, one page remaining, it's going to divide in evenly, no remainder, 138 times. If you have questions on this page, go ahead and bring them with you to class. All right, little loves, last page for this week. If you got this far, congratulations. That's a lot of practice. This is going to divide in 752 times. There is no remainder. 1,158 divided by 10. It's going to go in 115 times with a remainder of 8. If I do 115 times 10, I get to 1,150. So very close. 2,198 divided by 13, it's going to go in 169 times with a remainder of 1. 4,559 divided by 12, it's going to go in 379 times. There is a remainder on this one. It does have a remainder of 11, very close, but still smaller, so that is an okay remainder. 1,198 taking groups of 14. We're able to take 85 groups from here. It does have a remainder of 8. And then our last one for this page and this week, 1,197 divided by 15. It is going to have 79 groups. It does have a remainder of 12. If you have questions on these pages or this unit, please go ahead and bring them with you to class. Have a great weekend.